Good morning, everyone. Okay, we're going to, as I said last time, we're going to start with the buyer's side first. So we're going to look at buyer's behavior this time. So to do that, let's start with some definitions. It's a new vocabulary. There's a definition 1. Okay, so we're going to define here the quantity demanded of a product of a good at a given price is the total amount of the good that buyers are willing to purchase at that given price, at that price. Okay, so here, so we're defining the quantity demanded of a good. Okay, so what this does is, give me a price. Say it's a given price. Say $10. Say, suppose the product price is $10. Then you count all the total amount of the good that the buyers are willing to purchase at that price. So, say at $10, all buyers, if you count the total amount of the good that buyers are willing to purchase, say it's 1 million units there. Then this pair is the quantity demanded at $10, right? So obviously, if the given price is different, say if it's $20, then probably some people think that is too much. So let's say 500,000 units are demanded there, right? Or if the price has become really cheap, say $2, then maybe some more people are purchasing, say 2 million units are demanded, etc., etc., right? But here, note that here represents the buyer's willingness to purchase. So this is important. So willingness to purchase at a given price. So obviously, the buyer's willingness to purchase change with the price there, right? So that's why it's quantity demanded of a good is meaningful at a given price. Fix the price and count all the number, the units that the buyers are willing to purchase at that particular price there, right? Okay. So that's the definition of the quantity demanded of a good. Okay. Now, from there, second definition here is definition 2. The demand, or I'm going to use demand schedule or demand curve or demand function the demand of a good is the entire collection of price and the corresponding quantity demanded pairs. So we're defining the demand of a good. So here, I'm going to sometimes use demand schedule, demand function, demand curve. Technically, they are different, but in most cases, if it doesn't cause any confusion, I'm going to use demand schedule, demand curve, demand function interchangeably. So demand of a good is the entire collection of the price and the corresponding quantity demanded pairs. So here, so each pair is a price and corresponding quantity demanded. At this price, at $2, 2 million units demanded. At $20, 500,000 units demanded, etc. So if you collect all those pairs, so there will be more. Like if it's $1, say 3 million. If it's $30, only say 250,000 people are willing to purchase, etc., etc. Then, if you collect all those price and corresponding quantity demanded pairs, then we call this entire collection the demand there, right? Okay, so that's what this says. So demand of a good is the entire collection of price and quantity demanded pairs. Since quantity demanded represents the buyer's willingness to pay, willingness to purchase at the price. So what this says is demand is roughly, it says it represents the buyer's willingness to purchase at different prices, right? So that's what this says. So in that sense, demand represents the buyer's willingness to purchase, right? So buyer's willingness to purchase at different prices. At different prices. Okay, so the important thing here is the buyer's willingness to purchase. It's not the actual number of units that buyers are purchasing, it's willingness to purchase. Okay, so let's see. Let's clear this up and then okay, so let me give you some examples. Okay. Examples. So let's first start with, suppose here's an example I often use. And suppose you're working at a hard disk on Bishop Avenue there, right? And then manager knows that you're taking Econ 1100 micro principle, where the concept of demand is taught. And so she asks you to estimate the weekly demand for hard disk, say bacon cheeseburger. So let me use BCB for that. Okay, so bacon cheeseburger. So your task is to estimate the weekly demand for hard disk bacon cheeseburger. So how can you do that? So the idea here again is you want to find out buyers' willingness to purchase at a given price. So if it's in class, I often ask the students, how can you estimate the weekly demand for hard disk, the bacon cheeseburger? And then there are several answers, but oftentimes I've noticed that the student often give me the answer like this. So it is going to be, say, well, just look up how many bacon cheeseburger have been sold this week. So if you say you've sold 125 bacon cheeseburgers this week, that's the demand. But that cannot be true, right? So according to our definition of the demand, so demand is a pair of price and the corresponding quantity demanded. So we have to collect all those, the price and corresponding quantity demanded pairs, right? But this one is just, suppose it is, say, $5. And at $5, 125 bacon cheeseburgers have been sold this week. That's what this information says. But that's a little bit different from this demand that we define, right? This is a price and the corresponding quantity demanded, where this quantity demanded represents the buyer's willingness to purchase at this price. But this one is an actual number of bacon cheeseburgers sold at this price. So this is quantity demand. It represents the buyer's willingness to purchase, and this is the actual amount. So they may be the same, but most likely they are different there, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is the demand is a collection of all those price and corresponding quantity demanded pairs, like $5 this and $4 and etc. etc. But this one will just one pair, $5 and actual number of bacon cheeseburgers sold, right? So this cannot represent the weekly demand for hardest bacon cheeseburger, right? So what we can do is, I oftentimes do that in class, and I ask the students their willingness to purchase. How many big bacon cheeseburger or the bacon cheeseburgers are you willing to purchase at a given price? So here are some, here's one way to estimate the weekly demand for big bacon cheeseburger at Hardee's there. Right? So I asked several students, like say I asked John in class, and I asked John. So I asked John the following question. So I make tables, prices, and number of bacon cheeseburger per week. So I asked him, hey John, suppose currently a bacon cheeseburger at Hardee's is $5 a piece. Then how many bacon cheeseburger are you willing to have if it is $5 a week? Okay. And then he may answer, say, like 3. And then I change the price. Suppose it is $6. Then how many bacon cheeseburgers are you willing to have this week? And he might say, well, if it was a little bit too expensive for him, so say 2. And then if it's $7, then he may say, well, that's too much, and then 0 there. And then I can ask, what if it is $4 a piece? Then he said, well, I'll still stick with 3. And then he might, if it's $3, then he might say, well, 4. And then if I ask, well, suppose it is 99 cents, then he may say, well, I'll have one for every day, right? So they may, And I asked the same question to some other students, say Julie here. Hey Julie, here's the number of bacon cheeseburgers per week. So if bacon cheeseburger at Hardee's costs you $5, how many bacon cheeseburger are you willing to have? She may say, well, I'll just have one. And then if it's $6, then it's nothing. And maybe $7, of course. She's not going to have any. And $4, and then she may say, well, I'll still have one. And she says $3, then maybe two. And she says 99. If it's 99 cents, maybe three, she said, right? And here's another one. I asked, some more students say, this time it's Tom. And Tom is a football player. Is the price and number bacon cheeseburger per week. Hey Tom, if it's $5, then how many? Same question will be asked. And he said, well, I have three. And then $6, then it was three. And $7, and he may say, well, I'll just have two. Then. If it's $4, then it's four. If it's $3, then it's seven. It's good. And then 99 cents. Then I'll have 10 of them like that, right? So again, by definition, by construction, these represents the demand, right? So demand for bacon cheeseburger for John here. So this is the price and corresponding quantity demanded pairs by construction, right? So this table or the demand schedule represents the John's weekly demand for bacon cheeseburger at Hardee's. This is for Julie and this is for Tom there, right? Now, with this, then we want to find the total demand, right? So I can keep doing the same thing, keep asking other students, but for simplicity, suppose there are only 3 students there, right? Then to get the market demand or the total demand, what I can do here is I can add them up, right? So price and then corresponding number of bacon cheeseburgers per week there, right? So I started at $5 there, right? At $5, and John is willing to purchase 3, and Julie is willing to purchase 1 unit, and Tom is willing to purchase 3 units. So how many units in total to be demanded, right? So here 3 from John and 1 from Julie and 3 from Tom, right? So altogether 7 burgers will be demanded there, right? So if it's $4, then do the same thing here. $4 and then 3 from John, 1 from Julie, and 4 from Tom, right? So 7 and 8 there, right? Okay. If it's $3, then it's 4, 2, and 7 there, right? So this is 6 and 13 there, right? And now 99 cents special there. And 7, 3, and 10, right? So that's 20 there, right? And likewise here, if it's $6 there, and 2 there, 0, and 3, right? So 5 there, right? And $7, 0, 0, and 2, and 2 there, right? So, okay. So this is the total demand, right? So total demand. Okay, so let me write them down before I move on to the next screen. So 99 cents and 20 units, and then $3.13, 4, 8, 5, 7, 6, 5, 7, 2. Okay, so let me clear this up. Okay, now, so let me rewrite that information here. So the weekly demand, estimated demand, and it looks like this. There's a price there. And number of bacon cheeseburgers per week. So it was at 99 cents. There was total of 20 units demanded, and $3, 13, and $4, 8 there, and $5, 7, and $6, 5, and $7, and 2 units, like that, right? So now let me draw a graph of this, right? So this is the relationship between price and then the quantity of this quantity demanded, right? So I can draw them like here, and two-dimensional pictures there. So two variables, the price and the quantity demanded, number of burgers there, right? Okay, so one goes here, the other variable goes here, but it's economist tradition, convention, that the price goes on the vertical axis, and the quantity is the word, the number of bacon cheeseburger per week goes on. This quantity goes on the horizontal axis, and price always goes to the vertical axis there, right? This is the economist convention, and this may confuse some of you. You will see why it is confusing sometimes. But for now, this is the economist convention. Put price on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal axis. So let's say it says the price is 99 cents, say 99 cents is here, and then 20 units demanded, say so 20 is here. So that point is here, somewhere here, say, okay? And at $3, let's say 3 is here, 13, say 13 is here, and $4, 8 units, 8 there, right? And $5, 7, 7 here, and $6, 5, say 5 here, and $7, 2 units there, right? So here, like this. So roughly, the demand from this table or the demand schedule can be represented by this graph, right? So roughly it looks like this. So here, so this is a demand curve, looks like this based on this demand schedule. And as you can see here, the demand curve is sloping downward, right? Okay, so here. One thing to know here is that demand curve is sloping, downward sloping demand. Let me put it that way. Okay, so so here is a downward sloping demand. Okay. Other way of saying the same thing is going to be there is going to be a negative relationship. Relationship. Relationship between price and the quantity, right? So other way of saying the same thing is going to be here. The higher the prices are, higher P's, the smaller quantity demanded there, right? So if price goes up and less quantity demanded there, right? Or if price goes down, lower the prices are, the larger the quantity demanded there, right? So this is lower the prices are, the larger the quantity demanded there, right? And there's another way of saying the same thing. It's a fancy way of saying the same thing. You heard this expression often. There's the law of demand. So you often hear, that's simply a law of demand. What that means here is there's a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. That is, if price goes up, people are willing to purchase less quantity. If price goes down, people are willing to purchase more, right? So that's what we mean by the law of demand, right? As you can see here, it's sloping downward there, right? So downward sloping demand, or fancy way of saying the same thing, would be the law of demand. The higher the prices are, the smaller the quantity. And if price goes down, then there's going to be more people who are willing to purchase the same good. Okay, now let me give you one more example here. This time, another example here. This is one of my favorite examples that I use throughout the semester. And suppose you want to estimate the demand for one bedroom apartment in Rolla. Okay, so you want to estimate the demand for one bedroom apartment in Rolla. Let me make a simplifying assumption. That will make our life a lot simpler. Assumption here, big assumption here. We're going to assume all one bedroom apartment in Rolla are of the same quality. Of course, in reality, quality is not. They are different, but to make our life simpler, we're going to assume that all one bedroom apartments in Rolla are the same. Okay, same thing. Okay, same quality. So with this simplifying assumption, let's try to estimate the demand for one bedroom apartment in Rolla. Again, the idea here is that we want to find out buyers' willingness to purchase. In this case, rent the apartment, right? But if you do the same thing as in the bacon cheeseburger example, we can ask, if the rent is $500 a month, then how many one bedroom apartment are you willing to rent? That doesn't make much sense there, right? So, but we can slightly change the question to get the buyer's willingness to purchase. That is, one way to do that is I can ask, what is your maximum willingness to pay for one bedroom apartment here? Okay, so if I have class in the regular class in physical class, then what I do is I often ask students how much are willing to pay for one bedroom apartment. So the question here is I want to find out the buyer's willingness to pay for the good. In this case, pay for one bedroom apartments there, right? Okay, so if I ask many students, their answer is like some students say, "Oh, I'm willing to pay $500," and some say, well, $450, and some say $600 and $525, and some say $400 and $300, $350, then $500 and $450, and so $525 and $600 there, like that. I can keep going and on, but let's stop here, and then let me rewrite this. Yeah. Oh, what happened here? Sometimes it does that. I don't know what happened. Oh, what happened? Okay, here. Close. Oh, jeez. What did I touch here? Okay, so what I can do is, let me rewrite this in a descending order. Okay, so here. So the biggest one first. So the largest one is $600 there. 600 there, and there's another one, 600. And the next highest willingness to pay is 525, and there are two of them there, right? So 525 and 525 there, right? And the next one is 500 there, right? So 500 and 500 there. And the next one is 450. There are two of them, 450 and 450, and 400 there, and then 350 and 300, right? 350 and 300. So altogether 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 people are surveyed, and then they were asked, what is your maximum willingness to pay for one bedroom apartment there, right? And so these numbers represent, these dollar figures represent the maximum willingness to pay for the apartment, right? One bedroom apartment in Raleigh. Again, the demand represents buyers' willingness to purchase, or buyer's willingness to pay for the good, right? So I can use these numbers, these dollar figures, to draw the demand function, right? So here, so again, so here, so what goes here is a price there, right? Price, or in this case, it's going to be monthly rent, or here's the number of one bedroom apartments demanded there, right? So what we're going to do is, remember the definition of demand. Demand says, is represents the buyer's willingness to pay for the good, right? So willingness to pay for the good. So suppose, you can ask, suppose the price is, say, $700. Suppose the rent is $700. The market rent is. Then how many of these 11 people are willing to rent apartment? Nobody, right? Because even this highest willingness to pay is this $600. They are not willing to rent apartment at $700, right? So what that says, if the rent is above $600 anywhere here, the corresponding quantity demanded is going to be all zeros there. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, like all zeros there, right? Okay. Now, if the rent is between $525 and $600, say $550, then how many of these 11 people are willing to rent? Yes, there are these two people, right, who are willing to pay up to $600 there, right? So that is, if the price is in between $525 and $600, 2 units will be demanded, right? So 2, say 1 and 2, say 2 is here. So if price is somewhere here, then 2 units, 2 units, 2 units, like that. So 2 units will be demanded there, right? For this price range. If it's price is there, 2 units, price is there, 2 units, etc., etc., right? So let me connect this thing. Okay, now do the same thing. We're going to keep doing the same thing. So if price is in between 500 and 525, say 500 is here, then how many people out of this 11 people are willing to rent? So these 2 and these 2, right? So if price is somewhere here, there, right? So there will be 4 units demanded, right? So it's 4 units demanded. If price is between 500 and 525, right? So here, so for this price range, price is there, 4 units, price is there, 4 units, etc., etc., right? Like that. And okay, now if price is between 450 and 500, right? So 450. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, right? So 6. So here, like that. So if price is there, 6 units demanded, there, 6 units. So this price range, all 6 units demanded there, right? And what about between 400 and 450? And 2 more, so 8 units there. Like that. And 350 here. So here, and then 1 more, right? So 9. And the price is between 300 and 350. And then 1 more, 10. And if price falls below 300, so here, and all 11 people, right? So 11 people. Okay, so here. So again, this represents the demand, right? It's a demand for 1-bedroom apartment, because by construction, this represents the buyer's willingness to pay for the good, right? Okay. Now, note 2 things. The first one, 2 observations here. 2 observations. The first one is still downward sloping demand curve, right? So the law of demand still holds. And second, now let's look at the number of steps. There are steps there, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps, right? So 7 steps, and then now let's look at these willingness to pay figures, right? And then if you group them in terms of their willingness to pay for the good, one here, so 500 there, 450 is here, and this is distinct one, distinct one, distinct one, right? So if you group them according to their, in terms of their willingness to pay, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 distinctive groups, right? Where number of steps were here is the 7 steps there, right? So here the number of steps the same as number of different people, buyers, in terms of willingness to pay, right? So that happens all the time, actually. So the idea here is that if there are many people with different preferences or different willingness to pay for the good, and there will be a lot of smaller steps there, right? And then eventually it will be a lot smoother, right? But still, it's going to be a downward sloping demand, or the law of demand will hold there, right? Again, so let me give you some definition, a new terminology here. So here, these numbers were obtained. I obtained these numbers by asking, what is your maximum willingness to pay for the good, right? So there's a terminology for that, and it's called the reservation price. Reservation price, right? This is the maximum willingness to pay. Is to pay for the good, right? That's called the reservation price. So I'm going to use this term often, a reservation price there, right? So, and speaking of reservation price here, let me clear this up. Clear this. Okay, here. So reservation price. Reservation price is the maximum willingness to pay. Right? It's the buyer's maximum willingness to pay. Buyers. Pay for the good, right? And then, if you're familiar with eBay, I'm pretty sure some of you have participated, purchased something or sold something at eBay. eBay auction site, this one, there's something called the reserve price. And if you know, and reserve price is set by the seller, right? So set by the sellers. So what that does is, if the seller sets the reserve price for the auction item that he wants to sell, what that means here, he is not willing to sell below this price. So this reserve price is the seller's minimum willingness to sell. Okay. So if the price, the highest bid price was lower than this reserve price, and the seller is not obligated to sell the product, the item that he wants to sell. Okay. So this is a reserve price. It's the seller's minimum willingness to sell. Reservation price here is the buyer's maximum willingness to pay for the good, right? So eBay is a wonderful place. It's a marketplace again. It started as an auction, the place. You can auction your stuff off, but these days you'll find many products are just sold at a fixed price there, right? Okay. And I I like I like eBay quite a bit, and then for at least two reasons. And the first one is my my research area. I used to work on research area is the auction mechanism. Auction is a very important form of the marketplace, and then examples of auction includes so-called all the Department of Defense. They purchase everything through auction, right? So what they from office supplies to jet fighters, they purchase everything through auction, right? So it's known as the procurement auction. Okay, and so Department of Defense use this auction often, well, most of all the time. And other good example would be like your cell phone, the spectrum, spectrum rights. Spectrum rights for cell phone. Right? So the government auction off this spectrum rights to these cell phone companies, network providers there, right? Okay, and another good example would be, and Google uses this auction mechanism very often, and then for advertising. That is, if you remember, like if you search something, Google something, then on the search page, search result, and at the top of the screen there are some advertisement there, and then search result will display below that, right? These are the related advertisement to your search, and then all these advertisement slots are sold off through auction. So if you're a seller of something, then if some search word is happen, then if you want to sell yourself, if you want to market yourself, then you have to place a very high price for this advertisement slot, right? So first slot, second slot, and third slot, etc., right? So Google's main income sources from the advertisement, and then those advertisement slots are sold off using auction mechanism, right? So this is a very important the mechanism for Google there, and so these are some of the usages of the auction mechanisms, and so that's why I'm interested in this eBay or the auction mechanism quite often, right? So, yeah, my research purpose. And then the other one is my personal reason. The reason I'm interested in eBay is I'm the avid the record collector, like LPs, right? And then it's the vinyl, like the turntable there, right? And probably some of you have seen it, right? So I've been collecting this records, the vinyl records, for a long time, and I have quite a bit actually, thousands of the LPs. And then used to actually not any longer these days, but you can find a good records at eBay through auction there, right? And it was really cheap back then, but these days and the rare LPs are quite expensive, and then they're auctioned off at a very high price. So I've collected a lot of LPs, through auction at eBay there, right? Okay, I'm going to stop here today, but I'm going